The Yankees are back on top. World champions for the 27th time. The Lakers repeat back-to-back titles. The LA Lakers. Back to throw Montana. Step left throws. This fight is over. Floyd Mayweather has a knockout victory over Ricky Hatton. Smiling. Oh! He slapped him! Conor McGregor is the new UFC featherweight champion of the world! Oh! Unbelievable!
Put the countdown mic up! Hell no!
Welcome back to Championship Rounds. It's me, Marcel Pierre. Yes, back again to break down last night's occurrences. And what I mean by last night's occurrences is I mean UFC 262. But before I delve off into that, as always, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Still trying to get that mark of 100 subscribers so I can get youtube.com/championship rounds. Yeah, that is my goal right now. But I'm not going to bore you with my goals. You know what I mean? So go ahead and just click that subscribe. Click the bell for the notifications. And that'd be much appreciated by yours truly. But again, let's go ahead and get into what we're here to discuss. And that again is UFC 262, which occurred last night. And a new champion was crowned. A new champion at 155 pounds. Khabib Nurmagomedov is retired. He's no longer in the picture. And now we have a new lion at the top of the mountain. I'm not talking about the same cliff or mountaintop that Mufasa held Simba over. You know, the circle of life. You've probably seen that or at least heard about it. No, I'm talking about the ladder. The top of the damn rung in the UFC's lightweight division. Alright, but before we get into that, I want to discuss an absolute legend at the end of his legendary run. I'm talking about none other than Ronaldo Jacare Souza. Alright, he came into this fight 41 years of age, fighting a guy in Andre Muniz that was 20-4. Hasn't tasted a lot of defeats. Has tasted victory several times. So not an easy fight. Not a layup for Jacare. Another jiu-jitsu player, if you will. Who actually, Jacare was upset because coming into this fight, he made the bold claim that he was a better jiu-jitsu player than Jacare Souza. Well, that didn't sit well with Jacare. And whatever level either of them are on, we all know Jacare achieved more in the jiu-jitsu world and the MMA world. But whatever level they're on, it didn't end well for Jacare. The man got his arm snapped in half. Protrusion from the skin and all. And you know the UFC's got to replay it and replay it and replay it till we all get that sinking feeling in our gut where we just want to lose our lunch, dinner, whatever we had. Alright? I was sickened by how many times they played it. Oh, this time we're going to play it with the sound on. Snap. The snap. You couldn't miss the snap. It was loud. Very, very loud. Jacare, being the absolute savage that he is, didn't even flinch. There was no grimace of pain in this man's face. This man famously broke his arm, or had his arm broken, in a jiu-jitsu contest, and he tucked his arm into his trunks and ended up winning a decision. The man is a savage. But anyways, Muniz came in there, broke his arm. They called the fight. And Muniz is feeling pretty good because he said he was the better jiu-jitsu player coming in. And he walked out with Jacare's arm. So, think of that as you will. But, Jacare, I think it's time to hang it up, buddy. I mean, you've had a nice run. You were one of the scariest people in the sport. It's over for you. And there's no shame in that. I mean, you've had a legendary career. So don't pull the Anderson Silva and keep tarnishing it and tainting it. No, just quit while you're ahead. Don't feel like you have to go out with a victory. It's not necessary. You've done enough. Moving on. We're just going to cover the main card and then we're going to get out of here. All right, so moving on. The first fight of the main card was Edson Jr. Barboza versus Shane Burgos. In my last show, I mentioned Shane Burgos was in a firefight with Josh Emmett. Well, in his last fight. Well, this fight was everything that was advertised. The two went out there and they let each other have it. Unfortunately, Burgos was on the wrong end of a lot of those exchanges. The man is a force. He took a wheel kick flush to the head, a la Edson Barboza, and he didn't lose his footing. He was stumbled, he was staggered on several occasions, and when he finally did get out of there, it was so weird. And I say weird because the man was hit upside the head. And I don't say that to be funny. He was hit upside the head, and it was a residual effect. It didn't affect him till seconds later. He stumbled and collapsed. His body said no more. And Edson obviously followed him to the ground and pounded him out until the referee stepped in. Good job, Edson. Good victory. You're looking like a force at 145 pounds. Yes, Edson Barboza spent the lion's share of his career at 155 pounds, and now he's down at 145, looking like a killer. So, all the praise to you for finding that second, if not third, leg of your career and staying relevant at the same time. So look for him to get a top-tier opponent in his next fight because Edson Barboza is a name. He is a name, and he's done a lot of stuff in this sport positive. So look for him to get a top fight, and if he wins, look for him to work his way into the title picture if he's not already there. All right, moving along. We got Katlyn Chookagian versus Viviane, and I say Arroyo, but I know I'm mispronouncing that. It's fine. She didn't win anyways. She brought, there's a gas shortage for real. And I guess in Brazil, it must be even more crazy because she brought a quarter tank. If that. She brought a quarter tank. So, okay, everybody knows that Chookagian is a worker. She's going to outwork you. She's going to out-volume you. She's going to out-strike you. And that is precisely what took place. She took over midway through the second round and cruised all the way to the end on the third round, won the decision. Unanimous. 30-27 on one of the cards. So, Katlyn's in a spot where she's beaten all the contenders except Jessica Andrade and obviously the champion Valentina Shevchenko. But what do you do with her next? You were clearly looking to bring someone in. Hey, they just added the Viviane chick to the game, the UFC game. So they were definitely looking for another contender for Valentina to fight. Unless they want to bump up another strawweight and have her fight her, another outsized strawweight with a name so Valentina can add to her legacy. I respect Valentina. But I really feel like a lot of her victories, since she's joined the flyweight division for women has been created, I think a lot of her victories aren't top tier. I don't give you all that publicity for beating women that are smaller than you or for taking out women in a weight class that is just, I don't even feel like should be a weight class because there's not enough good women in it. We're not talking about her right now. We're talking about Chookagian. So where does she go from here? Does she fight the next contender? I think that's the only thing that you can do. You can't put her back in there in Valentina right now. She got destroyed. She got beat from pillar to damn post. So don't put her back in there with Valentina. Get her in there with another contender, if there is one, because that division sucks. And it sucks so bad, I'm moving the hell on. All right. Moving on to another fight that dealt with an underdog that I actually picked to win. And that is Rogerio Bontorin. He was going up against Matt Schnell. All right. Bontorin missed weight. So even though I picked him, I was a little bit standoff on it because he missed weight. I didn't know if that would affect his cardio. I didn't know if I just watched Katlyn out cardio her opponent in the fight right beforehand. So I didn't know if he was going to come in here with a full gas tank or do what Viviane did and bring in the quarter tank or less. But thanks to Matt Schnell not pushing a very, very fast pace, it allowed Bontorin to ease his way into the fight, connect with the most significant strikes of the fight, and control Schnell when he got him to the canvas. So he ends up cruising to also a unanimous decision win. And when they were reading off the cards and Matt Schnell thought he was in it, thought it might be a split decision, thought he might have a chance, as soon as he heard the first 30-27, he knew it was a wrap. Because there was no way he won that third round. He got absolutely out-positioned, out-grappled, and outstruck in that round. The biggest moments in the fight belonged to Bontorin. And that's why he left victoriously. So, Bontorin's last fight, he was controlling Kai Kara-France. And at the end of the round, Kara-France got up and started letting go of bombs. And even though I thought the fight should have continued and went into the second round, they called it. Fair play to the City Kickboxing product in Kai Kara-France. But I knew that Bontorin was not a guy to be slept on. And that's why when I made the bet and I saw that he was an underdog, I jumped all over that shit. And rightfully so. So let's move on really quick. The co-main event, Tony Ferguson, Beneil Daryush. All right, the name here is obviously Tony Ferguson, one of the longest winning streaks in lightweight history. The man's beaten or competed against the who's who. His resume speaks for itself. His resume looks better than that of Beneil Daryush's. But what point of their career are they in? Beneil Daryush is surging toward a title, and Tony is surging toward retirement. It is what it is. The man's 37. Okay? So I didn't feel comfortable putting money on Tony from the get-go. Definitely not after his last two performances. It would have been almost foolish of me to do so. So yes, pick Beneil. It wasn't the most exciting fight, but Beneil clearly won the bout, and look for him to get a top 5 guy next. I mean, that makes 7. 7 fights in a row this man has won. Give him a top 5 guy and see where he's really at. Because Tony wasn't the guy. Beneil didn't even have to really push himself. Tony went for a Darce choke in full guard up against the fence. That was pretty much the only offense he had during the fight. He definitely didn't hurt or threaten Daryush through the entire bout. I saw a stat on Tony Ferguson. Something about his last few fights, he's actually competed 30 minutes and landed 30 strikes total. That's not a good output. The man's landing a strike a minute. So in the course of a round, you're going to land on this guy 5 times. That's it. Very porous. Very un-El Kakui-like, if you know what I mean. If you've been watching this sport, you've seen the guys that come in there with Tony Ferguson and what they look like when they left. Well, it's becoming Tony's leaving looking like that now. And that is a telltale sign that it's over. I ain't trying to crap on you, Tony. It's just your championship aspirations in the UFC, the world's largest MMA promotion, are toast. I'm just gonna keep it funky with you. So again, look for Daryush rather to get a top 5 guy in his next fight. Or I think he should probably be in there with Islam Makhachev or somebody, because I really feel like he's next. Islam Makhachev. Let's not talk about him because I want to talk about this main event. All right. The main event happened. I'm looking down at DraftKings, seeing that I could cash out for about $245. I was tempted. But I was like, I picked Oliveira from the get-go. In January, I said this man was the uncrowned champion, well before they even announced he was fighting for the belt. So why would I cash out now? Have some belief. Well, boy, in that first round, Chandler pushed him to the brink. Everything he touched Oliveira with hurt him. So it wasn't looking very good at all. And I think, and one of my buddies said this also, that Chandler really worked hard trying to get him out of there. And might have blew his whole wad. Might have emptied the tank, if you will. And I still didn't feel good after that first round because I'm not going to assume this guy emptied the tank. He's a highly trained, athletic killing machine. For all I know, he's got a second, third, or maybe even fourth wind. So I'm looking down at DraftKings at this point, and my cash out amount has decreased to about $135. So I'm like, man, do I cash out now? I didn't. I stuck to my guns, and I said, look, first round didn't go all that well. Let's see how the second round goes, even though I feel like Chandler might get this guy out of there. No, wrong. Very wrong. Okay, because Oliveira came out there, got right back in his face, no fear, high guard, and caught Chandler with a beautiful left hook in the pocket. Sent Chandler stumbling back. And Oliveira is one of the most seasoned and aggressive finishers in the sport. That's why his numbers are up there. That's why he's got the most finishes in the UFC. He swarmed on him and got him out of there. All right? Oliveira is your new lightweight champion, as I called it. But he's got a lot to look forward to because that division is full of killers. You got Poirier, you got Conor, hell, you got RDA returning to the division. And I'm not going to sit here and catalog the rest, but let's just say this. Oliveira is your new champion, and he's definitely got the tools to be champion for a long time. Alright guys, that's it for me. Like I said, kept it short and sweet. Be on the lookout for the next episode. I don't know right away what we'll be talking about, but I thought I'd come in here and touch base with you guys on what happened last night. So until next time, stay frosty.